seats.
Okay. Shame, yeah. Okay, it's interesting, looking around here, it's very clear that first of all, women don't drink beer. And secondly, they certainly don't drink pints. My name's Christine Cryne. I'm going to be the Master of Ceremonies tonight. I'm a Master Trainer for CAMRA. I've been involved with beer for many, many years. I lecture on beer, I teach at the adult educational beer and cider for my sins, member of the British Guild of Beer Writers, and I suppose my first claim to fame was being the first female that ran the Great British Beer Festival. And we'll come on to some of the sexist comments I've had about that. I'd like to introduce Barry. Barry, stand up. He's the Ops Director for Beerhouse pub chain. It's 6 pubs, and I'm sure you've never heard of the pubs included. Stalybridge Buffet Bar, the Buffet Bar, the West Riding Refreshment Rooms, and the Sportsman in Huddersfield. Thank you, Barry. And unfortunately, of course, he's very much outnumbered tonight. Annabel Smith, who's an ex-publican. She's a freelance beer sommelier, writer, consultant, trainer, and public speaker. But I think the most interesting thing about Annabel is that she's the founding member of DeaLatis, which is a group of brewers, beer tasters, publicans, writers, and marketeers who are aiming to change women's ideas about beer and present it in a way that encourages them to taste it. Thank you. Right, we've then got Katie, who's the youngest member of our panel. She is a beer blogger, CAMRA's communication manager, and she's a member of the British Guild of Beer Writers, and she'll be helping me take some notes tonight. Okay. And Jaeger, who I've known for many years, is a scientist by background. She's one of the founders and the head brewer of Wiles Brewery in London, an excellent brewster, and she recently has received a lot of coverage about being outspoken on sexist beer labelling, and I don't think she's going to hold it back tonight. Okay. And last but not least is Jennifer Smith, the co-owner and responsible for sounds at Brewsmith Beer in Ramsbottom, and some excellent beers I've been trying for you today. A 10-barrel brewery which started in 2014, and Jennifer is also the Women's Officer for Bury North London Labour Party. Or Berryworth, sorry, get that right. And that's our panel tonight. But having said that, it's all about the interaction. So we'll be talking a bit, but we're expecting you to talk a lot as well. So, why has this been termed that sexism is bad for business? It makes both women and men feel uncomfortable. Anyone who encompasses it, even if they are not the victim, will leave the premise and often not return, and they're certainly not buy the product if they think it's a sexist product. It's been quite interesting over the last couple of weeks about what's been happening. Cloudwater have changed some of their labelling, and this week Castle Rock have done the same with their Elsie Moe. And I think that's probably one of the issues, isn't it? It's about getting the word out there. And the other problem, of course, is that somebody encounters this sort of sexism, is that they spread the word. And there's a lot of work that says that one complainant will tell 10 other people. Interesting, DeaLatis has done some research which says only 13% of women in the UK drink beer. The average across the rest of the world is 20%. That's a huge difference. And sexism in the industry may be one reason which discourages people, women, from drinking it. Our objective today is not just to talk. We want to come up with some recommendations to reduce sexism and encourage women particularly to come and drink beer. It makes sense for business. And what we want to do today is to help you, is to ask you to help us to come up with some recommendations. But to set the scene, I just want to ask you a question, and I'm going to tell you the story and ask you a question at the end, some questions at the end of it. It's a story. A man and his son were driving home on a snowy night and skidded off the road. They were taken to a local hospital, and the man was taken into intensive care. The boy was taken into surgery, and the doctor refused to operate on the boy, saying he was their son. Who was as their doctor? Was it the gay partner? Was it the original dad? Might be the stepfather. Any other ideas? So who thinks it was the gay partner? Who thinks it was the original dad? Who've got other ideas? Who was it? It was the mom. And it's interesting, 9 times out of 10, 80 to 90% of people in the audience like this will say it's someone else. Nobody thinks it's actually a woman that's the doctor. So if we've got those hidden prejudices already, that we have a fundamental problem about when we start considering women in areas that are not generally considered to be a woman's area. It's considered to be a man's area. And doctors are exactly the same. You can think of lots of other industries. Beer is one of them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask in turn each of my panel to briefly give you an example of something which they've experienced personally in terms of sexism. And then we'll start going through some of the questions that we're going to pose to everybody. David?
Right.
Oh, Barry, sorry. Barry. Okay, right, stop.
Personally, I've never encountered anything against me, so I'm not for me members of staff. I spoke to my members of staff, my managers to ask if they ever had any issues of sexism. And they were not expecting too much of us to be reported anything to me. It was scary that all had something within the last week they could relate. But probably the worst one I can think of is when one of my glass collectors was out wiping the table down with somebody here, and I'm laid back said, "You missed a bit, but I've got a lot of crumbs down here." Which, for a 16-year-old girl who was glass collecting and wiping tables, we had to ask them to leave and take the situation from there. But for me, that's just wrong at every level. You just don't understand where that is coming from this century.
Yeah.
I'll just check that you can all hear me. Can you all hear me at the back? Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to put a bit of a positive spin on this because I've worked in the beer industry for 30 years, and when I look at what goes on in financial institutions and their industry, I think we're quite lucky in the beer industry in that we're very inclusive. We actually judge people on their skills and abilities rather than their gender. But I think there is kind of an undercurrent of casual sexism in the industry, which could be amusing, but could be taken the wrong way. So my example is, I was in a bar in Leeds about a year ago, and I walked in, and it had lots and lots of Belgian beers in there, which is like letting me loose in a sweetie shop. And a lot of these beers were on draft. And I couldn't decide. I was so excited by this. My partner chose his drink, and the barman was watching me go along the pumps, go, "Oh, shall I have that, shall I have that?" And eventually, after a minute, he said, "We do have some fruit beers, love." And I thought, it was the wrong person to say that to, and he wasn't being demeaning in any way. It was just purely an assumption, because I was a female, that I'd probably like a fruit beer, and it was a lack of education from his employers that don't ever assume that a woman won't drink a beer. And like I say, that was kind of just casual sexism.
Well, I work for CAMRA and the face of CAMRA on many occasions, and usually when I meet somebody for the first time or speak to them over the phone, the first reaction I get is, "Well, you don't look like or sound like somebody who would work for CAMRA." And I can understand that, but it's usually followed by, "Do you actually like beer, or is this just a job for you?" Which I do have an issue with, so that's probably the most common example I get on a day-to-day basis.
Hello everyone, hello. So I'm going to take you back to the summer last year, and I had passed my forklift driving test about a couple of months before. And I was at Wildcard. We've got a little site that we are moving the brewery, so we've got lots of building work and what have you. And we were storing, at the time we were storing loads of our beer on pallet racking. So I was at the new site on my own, driving a forklift in and out. And someone walks past me, a member of the public. It was either a member of the public or he was someone who worked in the estate, it was someone who I didn't know, I was new to the estate. And I'm driving this forklift around, and he goes, "Hey, can I get a picture, please?" And I don't know why I did this, but I smiled at him, and I just posed. And he took his picture, and then I was thinking, why did I smile? And then after he said to me, "Oh, I can't wait to show all of my mates a woman driving a forklift." And I was just like, and what really gets to me is, it's not so much that I smiled at this guy, it's the fact that when he shows his friends the photo, I'm going to be there just like, hey, looking like I'm having a great time, rather than swearing at him, to be frank. But yeah, that's one of mine.
We set up Brewsmith about 4 years ago. It doesn't happen as regularly now, and I think it's partly because I know lots of my customers, I've built good relations. But in the earlier days, and sometimes still people I don't know, either if I answer the phone, it's can I speak to your manager, or can I speak to your boss? Or if James answers the phone, sometimes he picks up things like, oh, I spoke to the girl in the office, the 39-year-old woman who runs the business. So lots of just small examples of that, really. People referencing you and sort of infantilising you, or not really understanding who you are as part of the business. There's a lot of that happens.
For me, when I took over as the first female running the British Beer Festival, the question I got asked continuously by journalists was, first of all, whether I drank pints, and secondly, how many pints it took me to get drunk. Now, they would never ask a man that. So it's those sorts of things which I think are still ongoing. So there are a number of questions that we're going to put to the audience today. And to make it easy, we've written them up. Okay, they are: why do we think it still occurs? We've moved on a lot. Do we think it's improved? And in the last 10 years, I'm speaking here. Has it improved? Why do we think there are barriers still about improving it? And last but not least, the most important thing today is, what are we going to do about it? I mean, this has been going on years. I mean, it's about it's been going on decades. And at the end of the day, every time we're actually doing this, we're losing business, we're losing beer sales, we're actually discouraging women to come and drink beer. And that's 50% of the population. And we should be drinking more beer. As I said, with DeaLatis, we're well behind the rest of the world in terms of beer drinking. And one of the reasons we think it is about sexism. So we're going to try and address some of those tonight. So I'm going to ask, in no particular order, the first question is, why do we think it still occurs? So Barry, would you like to, why do you think it still happens?
It still occurs because people don't call it out, or people get, I know from my staff and my managers, they desensitise from it. They get it so often, to be honest, to stop actually even noticing it's a sexist comment. So it's just part of the job, really. It's been accepted as part of the job. So it's here every day, so it's not an issue to also get sensitized to it. But it doesn't get reported to me, but it doesn't get acted on as a situation when it occurs.
So the rest of the panel, got any other comments on that? Why do you think it's still happening?
I think a big reason is because there are actually less women represented in the beer world than there are men. There are less women drinking beer and making beer, and I think that's a bit of a self-perpetuating cycle, because there is the marketing tailored towards men in terms of it being linked to sports culture and whatnot. But there's also the geekiness factor, and women not necessarily feeling empowered or that they know enough about beer to go up and order a drink and not make a fool of themselves at the bar. So I think until we actually empower women and get more women drinking beer, you're not going to get as much backlash, and you're not going to be able to change things.
Any other comments?
Yeah, obviously it's a problem across the whole industry, and this is in no way to point a finger at specifically CAMRA, but I think lack of action from organisations such as CAMRA, Cider, etc. have compounded the problem.
Nothing says this is not acceptable than the voice of an accredited body.
Is there any comments from the John? You got the microphone.
My apologies. My first task and I screwed it up.
And I forgive you. Like what you said about the perceived palette of women, I find that very difficult because I was explaining today, just through there, how I like things that are bitter and twisted, and my husband's a sweetie guy who likes the sweeter beers, and people were, oh, you like IPAs. And the connotation, it is just, I want to drink beer, I don't want to have to explain what I want to drink. I just want to drink beer, quietly, in the corner. Not, can I have that one please? No, I really understand what an IPA is, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, can I give you just a response to that? I think there's been general consensus throughout the brewing industry that brewing beer for women is a useless exercise, full stop. Because how can you please half the planet's population with just one flavour of beer? There is a lady called Ginger Johnson in the States who set up the Pink Boots Society, and she said it's about pinkifying a product. And in the beer industry, I call it blondifying a product. And it's about making a beer that is just suitable for women. She used the example of making a hammer with a pink handle, which is suitable for women, but it's just not fit for purpose. Why not just have a hammer? Why not just have a beer instead of thinking about a beer for women? And for brewers, I think it's about getting serious about 50% of your audience and reaching out to them.
Could I actually ask you to state your name and if you are with a pub or brewery to let us know?
Donald Shanahan, I'm not. I'm a chemical engineer
Hey!
who works in steelworks, so yeah. Why does it happen? So I work in process safety. So process safety is, I try and prevent events that kill multiple people in my plant. And when we talk about process safety, we always say it's the management system that has failed. Because if we blame an individual or an individual actions in that, it's like blaming it's like what we say, you can't blame gravity for a fall. So because there is no policy, which was already mentioned, or because there is this kind of hidden agenda, if you want to call it that, we're not addressing it, and you never will. It is the management system that has failed. We're not recognizing it, we're not doing anything about it.
There was the guy over there with the... Yeah.
Hello, I'm Nick, I work in the bar industry. I think, well, from my mind, why do we think it still happens? Are the people who have the power and the voice, the bigger bodies, making enough of a deal about it? It happens every single day, it happens in bars, it happens to bar staff, it happens to brewery staff. The people who have the biggest voice should be shouting the loudest about it. I think that's not happening at the moment. You can see that, alright, there's maybe 50 of us in this room right now talking about it, but there's probably another 300 people in there that we're not engaging. What should we be saying to engage those people? And at the same time, what are we not saying? What are the things that we can't relate it to them? How can we relate it to those people? We should be thinking about how to do that.
Well, let's hold on to that thought, and perhaps we can take it on the end. There's a lady down here.
So I'm Steph.
I'm Steph.
I'm Steph. I work for breweries, bars, and I have freelance marketing across a lot of breweries. So following on from that, two of the answers of why sexism is still occurs was people are desensitised to it and women aren't empowered enough. That's what's the onus of women, as they've been desensitised and they aren't empowered. Why can't you speak well? Why aren't you empowered enough? Do managers, higher ups, CAMRA not have a responsibility to make sure women are empowered and can speak to you? Not you, but yeah.
Any other thoughts about guy down here, John? Yeah, we're getting active. tonight, aren't we?
Yeah. Getting some exercise tonight.
I'm Kev. I don't actually work in a bar or in a pub or anything like that. I'm just a casual drinker. And going off the back of sports advertisements, I quite like to drink a beer. Off the back of what Nick said before, it's the bigger bodies. So when a lot of people start drinking beer, it's not for the women to taste drink. That's when most people start. Family or mother or brother or whatever, it's that kind of thing. And I've noticed that a lot of advertising, especially companies that produce things like Foster's, Kronenberg, it's all guys. You look at the Foster's adverts, it's everybody, it's just two guys in the back of Australia, two brothers. Eric Cantona is the face of Kronenberg. Back in the day, it was Casper and Forex. Otherwise, it was just a bunch of blokes. It's all guys, and that's how it starts. And fortunately, smaller breweries, local breweries, microbreweries are all kind of seeing this and they are gearing their sort of marketing towards a broader audience. And I think it's the guys in the sort of lager industry that really need to change before anything promotes.
Can I just ask, has anyone actually seen any advert on Boddington one many years ago that featured a woman? Just raise your hand if you have. Which one was that, Peter?
Sorry, there are a few from about 10 years ago in old festival programs that I've come across, which, were not women kind of lying half naked saying things are better if you wait longer for them, and similar, which are just, we wouldn't even hear of today, so actually it does kind of show how far we have come in some ways, if that's any comfort.
Let me just take a quick sounding. I mean, sorry, did you want to come back?
I think what might be mistaken, the Budweiser one that tried to take the mick out of the craft beer industry, saying enjoy your peach, this and that beer. I think that had a woman in it. but equally that was a macro producer of lager trying to equate more sensitive people to be women. So I don't think it was very useful.
And just to add to that, I think it's important to recognise the role of the unconscious bias in terms of in what we all have. I think sometimes sexism is an issue where someone is just outright sexist, but a lot of the times it happens kind of under the radar, and sometimes people just don't realise what they're doing, but they make a choice without even realising the choice they're making. So I think it's important, especially as smaller groups, to really invest in unconscious bias training and for us to realise that it does exist and it is a real thing.
Just in terms of advertising, DeaLatis have just undertaken a big piece of research about one of the barriers that women find when it comes to drinking beer, and we actually asked about advertising, and a lot of women said, oh yeah, the advertising is male, so we asked a sub-question to it, and we asked them to name adverts that they have seen over the last decade where it is predominantly male advertising, and a lot of the women we interviewed actually struggled with that question, and what we concluded from that is it's not recent advertising that is the problem for the beer industry, it's unravelling all the history associated with things like the Foster's Alpha Male, the Budweiser Man, and it's kind of because it's in their subconscious, so it's going to take a lot of time to unravel that advertising culture.
That's a very good point. Because there's lots of perceptions there, it sticks. So I'm going to just take a stroll off, because I mean at the end of the day the next one I think is relative. So I'm going to ask you questions. How many people think that it's improved? How many people think it's the same, and how many people think it's worse? So how many people think it's worse than it was 10 years ago? Okay. 2! Hey, well that's good. How many people think it's the same? And how many people think it's improved? Okay, so at least we're working in the right direction, even if we're not there yet. So let's go on to the next one. What are the barriers to improvement? I'm going to ask the panel their views. So I'm going to start down the other end this time. And Jennifer, what do you think is actually stopping us improving going forward?
Like improving women participation?
Yeah, just in terms of sexism, in terms of, and also it could be either. It's what do you think the barriers to stop sexism? And what do you think are the barriers in terms of women drinking beer? We've touched on a couple. I'm really valid on this conversation.
Yes, I think there's a core of very active kind of I suppose misogynists within our industry who quite blatantly, want to see sexist imagery on pamphlets, for example, who will, happily feel you up in a bar or worse. And then I think for the vast majority of others, it's not even agree with that, but kind of just let that go on. So there's not enough of a challenge to it, and maybe not even just in an individual situation. I don't think people realise how much you contribute to the sexist industry if you haven't got your eyes on it and you don't see it around you. So obviously for women, as a minority in the industry, so as an example, 20% of CAMRA members are women, there's always going to be that imbalance. But I think for men, the best thing they can do is not necessarily to go around championing women, but be an ally to what we're saying and helping us to be more engaged. And that involves calling out other men, for example, or calling out a company, or calling out a particular brewery, or somebody in a pub. It could be lots of small things, or it could be quite big things and small things. But I think until the organisations themselves acknowledge that and start to put something in place to make people actively do that, it's going to say the same. We'll be in this room in a year's time, 5 years' time, and I'll still say the same thing.
I think the beer industry, we do a lot of shooting ourselves in the foot. We want to surely encourage more women to drink beer. We want more people drinking beer. We will make more money if that happens. So why we actively go about alienating a lot of the population, and I'm going to bring it back to sexualised branding. This beer festival, so the Manchester Beer and Cider Festival, is the first festival of its kind to ban sexist imagery. How has that happened in 2018? How is this the first one? That's really the question we need to be asking.
I think a huge barrier as well is the prioritisation that this issue really has on a lot of the industry members. So if you speak to people at CAMRA, at Cider, at the BBPA, these big industry partners, there's a lot of big issues that people are focusing on, and sexism doesn't really rank very highly. And I think it is getting higher and higher because people are making it an issue. People are calling out brewers when there's sexist labeling. People are having conversations about it. The media is picking it up. It's gathering momentum. And I think the more that gathers momentum, the more support we're going to get behind it. Until that momentum builds, that's probably the biggest barrier, is the lack of privatization.
Okay, I think we've got some cultural things to unravel. And again, I just want to back this up with an example. I heard from a lady who is 5th generation brewing family. When she did her brewing degree, the professor at her college, when they were studying hop oils, said these are very floral hop oils. These will appeal to female drinkers, and it was that kind of assumption and stereotype. So we've got to unravel quite a lot of education. So it goes right back to further education, goes right back to consumer behaviour. I think a barrier. It could be a barrier. It could actually be something that we kind of tackle head on. And I would love to know in every brewery in this land how women, females, are represented on the boards of those breweries. Are they underrepresented? And if we do want to recruit more women to board level at those breweries and bring those skills with them, let's do it for the right reason, rather than a tick box exercise to say, yeah, we've got 50-50 male-female on board.
For us, we're total opposite of that. From London, we've got 6 pubs, 5 of them are managed by females. So what's the barriers and what's the fence in us? If it goes from the top to the bottom, the brewers, the representatives of the brewers, the marketing of the brewers, if they're only able to get through our and sell to our females, if they're not buying the products. But it goes back to, I've been in this industry a long time. I was a sales rep for a big company 15 years ago in a team of 12, all 12 from male. It was that lavish behaviour and thing where we're able to work in these clubs that have females in, necessarily behind the bar. This is only 12 years ago. And a lot of that still exists, even if it's not in the sexist, it's nothing to do with it. That attitude is still there from that generation. And some companies, even in this generation, have male sales reps, girls in the office, and that kind of situation. And they can't see it for themselves. So it's about an education to see actually it's women are empowered and buying products, and women are empowered and groups. It's not just all boys together.
I think for me, before I throw it over to the floor about something, it's actually getting the momentum going and keeping the momentum. CAMRA about 6 years ago passed a motion at the conference which was to address this whole area of sexism, and it's quite interesting looking at their internal policy document. There is no mention of that in the current policy document. So it's not just a case of actually agreeing things, it's keeping that momentum there and keeping it on top of mind. So I think it's a real issue, I think, but because I'm not saying because CAMRA chairman is a male, and CAMRA is just about to have a female chairman, so things may change, but I suspect that the current chairman doesn't think sexism is an issue, whereas a lot, I think, with other females within CAMRA probably do. So it's about education, it's about, and I think that's a real barrier. It's just not appreciated as an issue. Now I'm going to throw it over to the floor about some of the comments about barriers for improvement.
I'm Laura, I work for Aberdeen's Brewery in Sheffield, and I'm going to be that as well. I think you've sort of touched upon it already, but I think a lot of this does come from a wider cultural perspective. It's not just beer. The fact that beer has been very male-dominated in the past, and the fact that we are now kind of starting to look at this as an issue, I think the builders is the barrier, but the fact that we are looking at the while it may be overdue, we're still getting very into discussion. And I think really it's great that we are in an industry that is starting to pay attention. I acknowledge it's a long way to get. But the fact that we are kind of starting to take action and thinking of ways that we can on a more open forum basis, I don't see why there's any reason why we can't be a benchmark for other industries such as the construction industry, where this is just as ingrained also. We have a real opportunity here to make a step forward. So I just kind of wanted to say that as acknowledging the barriers in themselves is the start of a positive step forward. So I just want to say that.
We'll get to everybody. We've got plenty of time.
Hello. Hello, my name's Kaylee. I don't work in the industry, but I'm a journalist. And a couple weeks ago, I published an article which some of the ladies in this room feature in, and others may have read about sexism in the beer industry on a mainstream media website. So I would just like to say that I think that one of the main barriers follows on from what Jaeger said before about the unconscious bias. We're in this room talking about it because we know it's an issue. The people in that room who aren't here listening to the discussion, they're the people we need to be reaching out to. Based on sorry, I've written some notes. So following on from my article, much of the reception was very positive. I got a lot of positive comments, but it was mainly from people who knew it was an issue and they were happy to see it in the mainstream media. But I did see the odd few, one person, for example, said, oh, it's one person complaining, it's political correctness gone mad. So that can sum it up, really. So I think that until we reach a wider audience, until we can make the issue be shouted out louder, rather than the
the people who know it's an issue debating it, that's going to always be the main problem. So I'm very glad that CAMRA have recently put out that statement saying that they're going to challenge it more, and I think that that is a great way for it to be challenged for a leadership that has such power as CAMRA to state that like explicitly, and hopefully more organisations will follow suit. So that's my point.
Just wanted to make the point that the masculinity of the pub environment has always been something that's turned me off it a great deal. It was only when my friend Sarah started working as a brewer herself and with brewing companies that I became interested in it. And I think the way the environment is promoted is really, really important, because I only started drinking beer when it started being in that masculine environment. The second point was, I just finished reading a novel which is about 3 women in the 17th century, the Civil War period, and it turns out that the role of women in that period was brewing, actually. So at some point that's been lost, taken away, and it looks like it's starting to come back, which is really nice to see.
Give us a hand at the front. Yeah.
I hate it when someone says, oh, it's political correctness or mad, and I do think this is of a certain generation that boo-hoo, we have to treat everybody like a person now. I'm so sorry for you. So that's what goes on in my head now when I hear someone say, oh, it's political correctness. I'm like, oh, women are people too. Oh, thank goodness. So that's just my reply.
Sophie.
I'm Sophie Atherton. I'm a beer sommelier and a beer writer. I want to take back actually on Kaylee's point about journalism. I think we're talking about the barriers to improvement, and one of the biggest barriers actually is the attitude of women. And that comes partly from the sort of what they call the women's media, women's magazines and women's pages. And I've lost count probably of the number of times I've tried to get articles about beer in women's magazines. They're just not interested. And I think that is in itself a massive barrier. And the women who don't drink beer are also having that unconscious bias. And we mustn't forget that as an issue as well, because they are also the people that we need to have a conversation with.
I just wanted to give sort of an example of situations I found myself in, and follow on from the Jen's point there. I'm a licensee of a craft ale sort of pub, and all the time when we have reps come in and general customers, everybody assumes the slightly older chap behind the bar is the licensee rather than myself. You know, it's like you say, it's a sort of ingrained assumption that you know, a younger female can't be in that role. So it's just sort of, you know, a point that I wanted to share with the group, as it were.
We'll take the last 2 hands and then we'll move on. Yeah. We'll take the last 2 hands and then. Where you go?
On the back of what I mentioned before with the advertising, again, it's a culture change, which a few people have said. It really is. So, not working in a bar, working in retail instead, just in like supermarkets and stuff like that. I have girls come up to me telling me that there are certain guys that are great towards them, things like that, but they won't go to management about it. And they'll come to me because they trust me and they'll talk to me because I've just got a lot of friends. But they won't report it because they're worried about what will happen, they're worried about people's opinions of them. And on the flip side of that, you've got the guys that think it's alright to do this kind of thing. People that I've had personal words with to say, you know, you need to stop doing this. And it's like, oh, it's just a bit playful fun. It's like, yeah, but that playful fun is making that person very uncomfortable and it's not really right to do in the first place. So I think it takes people to literally turn around, and I know it's not always easy, to just turn around and go, that's not right. That's not right. Just stop doing it in the first place. And, we all solve at least a small percentage of the problem.
But then I think that comes down to training from management. So in terms of people need to be teaching their staff about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, just so clear, so people know their boundaries. So if you do this in the workplace, you will no longer work here.
It's not even if you work there as well, it's just out of what your girlfriend says about your life.
Andrew.
I just wanted a few people who said things have got worse. I thought it was better just justify why things have got worse. You probably all wondering. For people like myself, Angela Smith, CAMRA member, fellow person of a lot of beer festivals, and regional director. Things have got worse because things have gone more subtle now. The ones of us that got really wanted to be in life and in CAMRA over the last 10 years. Sexism was regulated, you knew where you stood. Now, guys are using psychology to manipulate you out of places that you want to be, positions you want to hold, and building unconscious bias. And if you complain, you're the one that's out of step. Because they're ever so feminists, just saying as everyone else. But it's not true. They are still doing things psychologically to get their own way.
And there's one more here, and then we'll try and get on to some. What are we going to do about it?
Sorry, I'm now preempting that next question. So I told we were on the next question, but I think what we can do to help it is just listen. Just listen to what women want and what women want from the industry, what women want from us as men, and what.
I don't know why my husband never has.
but it's quite easy, and the easiest thing to do is just to stop talking, stop telling someone what they want, and actually say, do you know what do you want from this? What do you want from that? And actually take away more than you're actually trying to put in. And I think the problem in the industry at the moment is that, okay, we're listening to the whole sexism debate, we're listening to what we think is the problem, but are we actually listening to it? Are we actually saying, okay, this is what you're trying to say, and this is what you are telling me is the problem? Or am I looking at it from my perspective as a male in the industry who is looking at your perspective? It's very roundabout, and it's a very convoluted way of looking about it, but to simplify it, stop talking and actually listen to what people are trying to say to you.
That's true. That's true.
Can I come back on that? I think you're right. I think it happens in all industry, all society. Women are often spoken for rather than asked to speak, which obviously, like today's panel, is kind of an exception rather than, which proves the rule. I think sometimes people would pass the microphone rather than speaking over us.
Well, carrying on from that, Jennifer, have you got any thoughts about what we should actually do? What could we do to give some positive, practical recommendations about what we should do to actually address these points that we've raised tonight?
Yeah, so I came up with a couple of things. I think, obviously, I'm at a CAMRA event, so I'm going to focus a little bit on CAMRA. The first thing is, from my experience of being in the Labour Party, we can talk all day about how great it would be if there are more women, but unless we actually put some positive steps and rules and make some plans about how we're going to do that, it's not going to happen. So if you take the example in the Labour Party, for example, we have all women shortlists, or to encourage more women into roles within CAMRA, or just to try and increase the membership, target branches with gaining more women members. And that's not just a memo out to branches saying, wouldn't it be nice if you had more women members? That's actually about coming up with a plan of how you're going to get more women to come along to your branch meetings, to make decisions, to be part of the industry. The second point I wanted to make was more about venues themselves, really. And I think CAMRA also have a part to play. So, for example, pubs that are shortlisted for things like Great British Beer Guide, or even just the reviews on what pub, or there's all sorts of guides to venues. And obviously, real ale is paramount, but for women, does it smell of the men's toilets? Because we're not going to go in. Is it friendly? Is it friendly at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for a pint? Is it friendly at 10 o'clock in the evening when groups of men are there and you don't feel so comfortable going in, for example? Is it safe? Essentially, are the staff trained? Like Jaeger was saying, sexual harassment, all those kind of issues. Organisations like CAMRA and others could bring that in to make that absolutely part of the process of how you're assessed, not just on the beer, but on all sorts of other issues relating to it.
I would say one of the things that we can do is training. I would like to see especially the craft beer industry in particular, going out into universities, going out into schools and recruiting actively. The wider the talent pool you recruit from, when it's really common in the tech industry, it's really common in engineering, the higher standard of the talent, and you will find you will get a more diverse talent pool. So I think we have a lot of work to do with regards to us physically going into colleges and targeting groups who we wouldn't traditionally target. And it's not just, I know today's debate is specifically on sexism, but it's not just sexism. There is a massive lack of diversity in general in the beer industry. Just looking around this room, I'm going to take race as an issue. Just looking at this room, it is an issue. And I think a lot of it, if we can get into colleges, I think it would make a big difference.
I'm just going to respond on some CAMRA points because it's been a bit of the focus for a lot of comments tonight. And CAMRA has recently put out some guidelines nationally which says that it does not condone any sexist labelling, any sexist marketing in its beer festivals, its publications, and within its competitions. That's been a huge step for CAMRA, and I'm really proud that they made that step in the last few months. But what we now need to see really is that actually implemented. We are made up as a voluntary organisation of over 200 very autonomous branches across the country, and there's not very much centrally that can be done to regulate and police any misbehaviour, any sexist thing that ends up in a newsletter or a local festival. It really needs to come from the bottom up, and that means it involves what you were saying, Fen, about getting more women in CAMRA positions, in CAMRA branches, so that they can be the ones to help bring about this change, because otherwise it can be quite difficult.
So I was just going to say, if women feel that they have that backup with the second then they would feel more comfortable making those decisions. To call out that sort of behaviour.
There is actually something said that was actually agreed about Paul Partners 6 years ago along that line. So I think what's not happened is that it's a classic case of a good idea that then sort of went put on the back burner. So a lot of the stuff that CAMRA's been talking about was actually agreed by CAMRA members 6 years ago. And I think it's easy, and I suppose for me, and I'll pass up to the couple of members, is actually to make sure this isn't just the flavour of the month. There's been a lot of stuff going on at the moment. My worry is that this is something which is a short-term topic, and it will be forgotten by the end of the year. And I think that's the biggest problem I think that CAMRA has. In fact, any organisation has. It's the topic that many disappears. But I'm going to pass my time down. What do you think we should do?
Okay, I've got a bit of a 3-point plan here. Okay. First of all, really agree with Jaeger on we need to embed beer education into further education, be it through brewing or through the hospitality degrees or anything like that to make beer gender neutral. You look at any hospitality degree in a university, they spend a hell of a lot of time on food, they spend a hell of a lot of time on wine. How much time do they spend on beer? None at all. None at all. It's minuscule. So first of all, I think education, and I think, as a couple of members have already said, we're preaching to the converted here. All of you who are sat down, you understand this, you believe this. So second point of the plan is we need to grow this organically. And a lady over there said something about having a benchmark within the beer industry. If we can have an example within the beer industry which makes our industry gender neutral, it will follow through into the construction industry and into the financial industry. I know that's a big blue sky, but wouldn't it be great if we could make that happen? And the third thing is, we were talking about opportunities here, and advertising's kept coming up time and time again. So practically, from a marketing point of view, the gentleman over here talked about the connection between beer and sport. Look at what women's teams have done in this country over the last 18 months. Soccer, football, rugby, cricket, they have all succeeded. Why isn't the beer industry tapping into that with a connection between beer and women in sport? Because I bet that would engage an awful lot more women to choose beer as a drink of choice.
Follow that one.
For us, and then it's come up a couple of points that people have said that he's making a pub an inclusive space that people are happy to go into with their wives, with their daughters, or women going on their own. And that's what we try to do here. We put a lot of time into training our staff. We've got inequality levels to policy that is trained out and they understand. We promote from within. We put a massive emphasis on training with beer knowledge and beer styles and beer skills. And I can guarantee in any of our pubs, our female staff will do get asked, can I speak to Roy, because he will come and ask a question about beer. They know their products, they know their beer, they love their beer. And it's up to them, it's up to us, it's up to anything we see to call out. And it's when companies come in to sell to us, if we don't like it, we tell them we have to educate back up the supply. So if the brewers come in and try and say, this is this, and this is our market, this is the complete, we don't buy that stock, we don't want that, tell them what we do, and we go back to them. And if a rep or whatever's happening, appropriate behaviour, not in the old 70s style of selling, again, we need to report that back up to the sales directors of that company and say they're not happy with this kind of representation and challenge it back up the supply chain.
Can I just to follow on from what you were saying earlier, I just want to be super clear about what the procedure is currently. So since CAMRA released the statement with regards to sexism, there have been several publications around the country that have said what I would call sexist statements within them. What is currently being done and what is the procedure currently with regards to that?
So we've had a code of conduct for years, which applies to all of our members. And essentially, if a member breaks that, appropriate action can be taken. So it needs to be reported within CAMRA, and then there's a disciplinary committee that will review that, and that can lead, in the most extreme cases, from expulsion from the campaign. But it takes people actually bringing these issues to light and logging them and making them heard.
I can actually say, when I was back on the National Executive, I had to address a local news letter that was running a column which, to say was sexist, was pretty mild, but it's also offensive, I think, in terms of being sexually tried. And basically they were reprimanded and the whole thing was withdrawn and the editor at the time signed. So there are steps in place, whether it's strong enough, but I think Katie's made a good point. Unless the complaints are actually made, and that's half the problem. And it comes back to all the comments that have been made tonight, is we turn the eye. You know, we think, oh, we shrug our shoulders, and we don't do anything about it. And I think that's half the big problem we have within the organisation. But I don't want to... Sorry, Jaeger, unless you want to come back.
Yes, I do. I think the emphasis is too much on complaints. Why are they being written in the first place under CAMRA's name? This is the thing. It's CAMRA as a brand. It has CAMRA's name on it. Whatever any branch does around the country represents CAMRA. So...
I absolutely agree as well, but the actual logistics of trying to police and review everything that comes out from CAMRA, it's just the way that it operates is volunteer-led, it's grassroots up, so it can be, we're not there to necessarily read every single local newspaper that each branch ingredients and edit it for quality. Whereas I think, in some cases it's definitely needed. That's just not how the organisation runs. As long as that's how it runs, you always have an issue.
I think that's also. Right, what I'm going to do, I want to come back because I want to drop this one. I mean, Jane has made a very good point, and I think it's the problem with all volunteer organisations. Having been a CEO of numerous organisations with a federation structure, it's about controlling what people do. And it's right, it's that education point, which I think has been raised as well, which is an issue. But what I'd really like to concentrate on is, there's been various comments made on the table, is are there any other things that you think we can do about it practically to actually address it?
There's Ian Garrett, experienced beer drinker, ex-Gilder beer writer and Cider beer judge. There's very little we can actually do about advertising because that's all in the big brewers that are doing it. And they're not run by brewers, they're run by accountants effectively. And they're just marketing and it's all blokish. And they see that that's the way they can sell beer. And to be honest, it's not the beer that we're selling here. It's probably the beer that's selling most.
Okay, so what can we do about it?
What is the question of what we can do about it. There is something that, like a show of hands, who knows what Asperangelo is? Well, there's something you need to know about. If you want to tackle sexism, you need to know about Asperangelo.
Well, would you like to explain?
Rumination.
Hi there, Tara at Brewing Company. Basically, we've just been talking about demographics here, female to male, racial demographics. We've got to look at the age demographics here as well. If we look in this room here, who's over 40, 50, if we look in the room over there, a lot older. So, great getting into schools and colleges, yes, but we need to also try and educate our older Cameronians as well. So that's what
Right, it's a 63-year-old with a microphone.
Cheers. I'm Jaeger. I just want to say that I think it's absolutely wider cultural issues. Like pubs are a national institution, and so it's not just about people who are here who are into beer necessarily. It's certainly a wider cultural issue. I think it also translates into, if you want people to feel comfortable complaining or making an issue about it, you have to have people who can complain to. If you just have the demographic of people higher up in the industry more equal, then if you have editors at the level of people at the level where they're checking what's being written, who are women, who might call that out and say, actually, that's something that's completely unacceptable, that's something that you shouldn't be there. If you just change the demographic, you'll change the culture, because it can be diverse. So I think that's a really, that's everywhere. Look at politics. If we had the thing in Hollywood, it is the flavour of the month, you're absolutely correct, but I think it's the flavour of the month, but it's also something which is really big. I feel like the building blocks are in place now, and it can really start to snowball. The difference can be made, but we just need to change the demographic and get people into the correct places.
There's one person. Sorry, you speak a lot, you go.
Hi, I'm Hannah and I work for a brewery.
I think my issue with all of these things is that we need better amplification. This is something that all the breweries can lead the charge with. When somebody tells you something is problematic, don't argue with them. Don't tell them that you've never experienced it yourself, therefore it doesn't exist. That goes for women, LGBTQ, people of colour. If somebody tells you that there is a problem, then say, okay, well, how do we make it better? And by making it better, you listen to them, and when they tell you how to make it better, you say, this person has told me how to make it better, listen to what they have to say. Nick pointed out earlier about listening to what women have to say. The best thing that then you guys and everybody in this room is you go and tell all of your friends that you listened to what women had to say, and this is what they had to say, and they should then listen more. There's so much whataboutery whenever anything is talked about online or when anything is called out. You know, it's not that bad. What about all these people in blah, 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 blah? Like, it's not good enough. And by doing that, and by getting the breweries to lead with this, there's a lot of reach on social media and, you know, kind of face-to-face conversations, meet the brewers, things like that. This is how you start changing the minds of the people that you're stood in a room with. It's not, you know what, and it's like, yeah, it does need to go higher up. But the thing is that the people who work for Foster's and Heineken and all of those like macro brewers aren't stood in this room yet. That's where they need to come, and next year maybe, or the end of this year, they're the people that need to be making the changes. But for now, from today, just amplify everybody. Retweet that thing that you read written by this trans person. Retweet this thing that's been said by somebody else. And don't just say, well, you know what, I thought it was a good idea at the time, so basically, yeah. Because it's not good. Anyway, thanks.
Hi, I'm Mark. Following on from a few other comments, I was here for the debate the last 2 years, and 85% of this room to listen to CAMRA talk about shit about key keg for no reason at all was 45, 50 plus males. The whole room, you know, 85, 90% of the room. Where are those people now? Well, they're in that room having a beer. You look around this room now, it's a diversified room, you know, maybe not racially, which is something we certainly need to work on, but you know, we're making steps. And the thing for me, which goes on from exactly what Hannah's just said, is that all we can do is we can keep this conversation going, because maybe next year 5 of them will come into this room, and then maybe the year after 20 of them will come into this room. So we can only keep these conversations going. So exactly like Hannah says, keep calling it out, because this year it's a bit of a joke, the number of them that are sat in there having their 3.4% bitters and stuff. It's a bit of a joke, but maybe next year some of them will fill these seats, and hopefully it'll happen, but we can only keep having these conversations, so...
Hello, can I go back to that point? I'm really guilty of this. Anyone who follows my own Twitter feed or on Facebook or whatever, and we all talk about calling out, and I think that's important. But actually, what's probably more important is calling it in. So if you call someone out, you're pointing at it and you're saying that's wrong, and you're doing it either because you know they'll never ever agree with you, so you might as well just raise that. But calling it in means sort of bringing people into the conversation and finding a way to do that. And that's not about sort of shouting and pointing and saying that's all wrong. It's actually just about talking to people and getting to know them, and that could be anything from, it's not about men or women or anything like that. It's just about, making contact, making friends with people, people getting to know you as you, and not treat you as the woman who runs the brewery, for example. But the only way you do that is, by taking it out there and calling people in rather than just pointing our fingers and calling it out all the time.
I'll introduce myself this time. I'm Catherine Sullivan. I'm chairman of the Royal Society of Chemistry from Manchester. So please come and give us a talk on brewing beer through our first year chemist. We'll love that. We'll get everyone there. It'll be great. Also, Hannah, I love you. Yay, call it out. Also, I think I want to bring in this idea of an equal opportunity pub. Just so always, last line of the review says, it's an equal opportunity pub, which means the ladies are clean, anyone can go in there, and not have sexist things happen to them. That'd be great. If we could have that in a little, badge, that'd be great. I'll shut up now.
Right, it's 2 hands, and then I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to put to you one suggestion that was made to me when we started this. I had quite a few emails, and there's one idea that I'd just like to throw at you to get your suggestions. So there was a guy over there, John, and then the...
No, this is...
Oh, okay. Oh, no, sorry, I'm sorry. You said that, sorry, I apologise. I can only see this. Right, oh, of course you are not. Okay, apologies.
I'm a camera member.
Anyway, I'm called Guy generally.
I'll take it as an equal thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
My concern is that we've had a lot of discussion about sexism, but actually, if every single person in this room was asked what sexism was, and you take that even broader to all the members in CAMRA, there would be a lot of confusion, and it would be unclear, and it would be grey. And with all the stuff that's been going on in the media, it's a very difficult thing to define, because each woman will find sexism different.
Yeah.
What's offensive to one woman won't be to somebody else. Now, when women are confused about sexism, men are even more confused. And the older generation, when sexism wasn't even a word, are very confused. And I struggle with that on a daily basis, because at one time, any sexism I could have sorted out myself. But now, it's become a much bigger thing. And in corporate organisations, which are male-dominated and predominantly male, which CAMRA is, even worse. Something was brought up at my local branch meeting about the article in What's Brewing, and there were men sitting around the table with me with their eyes rolling. Yeah? There were 2 women or 3 women at that meeting, and there were about 30 odd men. Now, how do I address that? Where do I go with that? What do I do as an individual? You know what I mean? I don't want to be confrontational all the time.
I think that's why there needs to be written down rules from our trade body, from the parliament group, and it stops any confusion once it's written down rules.
One more, and then we'll...
I mean, honestly...
It's because of the fluorescent shirt.
It's a shirt.
Well, then that's your problem, not mine. I really like this shirt, so it's fine. What can we do about it? You've confused me now. You've totally thrown me off what I was going to say. Typical male. I think what can we do about it? We can essentially we can engage the wider community and the communities that we live in and that we work in. Essentially, we need what the panel member was saying is that we need more diversity. It's not just about us as male white men who were essentially in the brewing industry, which is predominantly that. And yes, okay, there are women working in the industry, but they are sadly exceptions to the rules. And it's not about what we as people in this room think. I'm going to say it's probably 98% white people. It's about everyone. It's about pulling people in and saying, do you know what? We exist in this community. We exist within this industrial community. It is an industrial community. It's a factory, like we were having a conversation before. It is industrialism. It is working in somewhere that makes something. And it's about pulling those people in and absorbing their ideas and absorbing what they've got to say. And it's not just about women, it's about race, it's about transgender people, it's about how you identify yourself, it's about pulling everyone in, and the fact that this little bit of a community within the beer scene that accepts the fact that we have to have this debate, it's going back to what I was saying before. We have to engage the 300 or 400 people in there, but also we have to, disregard those, because they're not the only people that like beer, and they're not the only people that are going to enjoy something that is good and something that is made well. fuck them. Like, I'm sorry, but like they don't matter to an extent. We need to reach out and say, we exist in this community, we exist in this part of the city that we work in, and let's bring everybody else in. If they don't want to get with it, let them carry on doing and drinking whatever tepid cast beer that they don't even really care about.
I'm going to call it. I've got one suggestion. I mean, I've had quite a lot of emails around this, talking to various people. This was one idea that came out, and I'm just going to get a show of hands where you think this is a good idea. It's interesting that a lot of the conversations this evening reiterates about a palm taking ownership. Forgetting about brewers, I mean that's a different issue, but this is really, but we can put brewers in this. And it's about having like a fire certificate in the same way. It's about getting people, places, whether it's pubs or breweries, to actually sign up to a standard of guidelines and active that they then actually get a certificate on that goes into that pub. In the same way as something like being the Good Beer Guide or anything else. And if there are issues that, for example, a woman went in, or anybody else, it could be transgenders, it doesn't matter, but they know that that's a part where the management take these issues seriously. Just like a show of hands, do you think that's a good idea? Yeah? So is that something we could practically take forward? And that's not just us. We'd have to go and talk to things like the BPPA, who's involved, and it's far bigger. And talking to the pub chains, and some of those pub chains, they might actually take it on as a point of difference. Barry, do you want to make any comment on that?
I think there is, if you do this with nightclubs tend to do it in local areas, do this in safe, to go into and things like that. Again, it'll all depend on the good pubs will get right, will do it, and the other ones won't. So it's amateur sort of thing to do. Yeah, people who care about their pubs will do a job and try into it and go for it and won't. So again, is it preaching to the convert people as opposed to reaching out to the people that we need to reach?
But do you think it might encourage women to go into?
I think it'd be good for pubs to highlight on their social media, their website, whatever it may be, that we're an inclusive environment, what we do and what products we've got, and promote it, like people do, public pubs do if they accept children, nightclubs do if they think it's a safe environment, pubs accept dogs. There's all them kind of situations, and again it could be into that, but you could also get lost in it if it's trying to be more inclusive and you've got 18 stickers in your window.
Yeah, that's true. One final comment on the local thing.
Only a couple of points. Reflecting on what you've just said there, would you not be worried that it could potentially become some sort of tedious ticking exercise for some people? Is how they see it. Because obviously you've got the good pubs that would abide by it, they would do everything properly, they would take everything seriously, and then you've got the other ones that literally would just say it's a ticking exercise and nothing more as an inconvenience if something comes. And on the other hand, on the back of what can we do about it, everyone that spoke pretty much gave really valid points about everything that they were talking about, some really good sort of things that we can do about it. Two of the things I was going to suggest was what I suggested before was literally call out your friends on it. That's literally the most basic thing. It won't change anything overnight, or at least it's a start. And then the other thing is a lot bigger is, one of the big Mac breweries just thrown out an advert that is literally tailored towards women. Although it's not exactly what you want, it'll cause a massive stir, draw attention to the issue in the first place, and make because it'll be like, oh bloody hell, it's a woman to be an advert, that confusion. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. There's some really good ideas. What we're going to do is we'll get these notes out. Graham, can we get this up on the Manchester Beer Festival website when we've got all these written out? This isn't the end of the conversation. If people have got other ideas to put forward, We'll get a contact number or contact email to carry on this. And the whole purpose is that we will feed this back certainly to CAMRA, but I think it's wider. We should feed it back to CIDR, the Society of Independent Brewers Association, and I think also we ought to be having this conversation with BPPA, which is the British Brewers Pubs Association too. I think this is, I've never seen this on any agenda of theirs, and I think it's, and as their chairman, so their chief exec, female, perhaps it's about time they did. So thank you very much, everybody.
We have some excellent stickers that have been prepared here by John and the Beer Festival team, which particularly you might want to wear and put them on your t-shirts.